welcome if you're new here, and in today's video we are going book shopping. However, we're going to be book shopping with a little bit of a twist. Instead of me bringing you along with me to just pick out the books that I'm thinking about buying and then coming home and showing you the books that I got, we're actually going to be using a spinner wheel to choose the books that I buy. I have created multiple different prompts on this spinner wheel to help me choose the books that I'm going to be buying during this book shopping vlog. It's just a way for me to maybe try different books that I didn't think about. Maybe there are books that I've been second guessing and this will help me get those books. Maybe there are some books that are outside of my comfort zone. So who knows, literally every book that I'm going to be buying is up to chance at this point in time. So let's head out, let's head to the bookstore, and we will spin our wheel the first time when we get there. All right, so I've made it to the bookstore and it is time to spin for our first prompt for the book that we are going to buy during this book shopping vlog. So let's spin and see what we get here. Ooh, a book from a genre I rarely read. Okay, this is gonna be fun. There's quite a few books from genres that I rarely read. We have sci-fi, we have classics, we have romance that I can choose from, we have, what other genres? Historical fiction. There's a lot of books that are definitely not from the genre that I normally read, which is fantasy. So let's go inside and let's find a book that is from a genre that I rarely read. Book, and yes, I'm crouched because there's not really a good place to put you, but I found the first book for the first prompt. So now it is time to spin the wheel again for the next book to get. So let's do that. All right, so what are we gonna get here? A book that's the first in this series. There are so many first book series or book ones in a series that I really want. Like, oh, this is gonna be a fun one. Okay, let's go and find a first book in the series. So now it is time to spin the wheel for prompt number 3. So let's do that. Spinning the wheel, let's see what we get. Ooh, a book released in the last 6 months. Okay, so that's gonna be fun because that brings us back to September of 2025. So any book released around September, October is a book that we can pick. So let's go find one. Third book pick. Now it is time to pick prompt number 4. So let's spin the wheel for the 4th time. All right.
Yeah, that one's kind of in our like metaphysical.
Let's see what we get here.
Area.
Ooh, a standalone fantasy. Okay. There's a few on my list. There's not too many, but I think I can find a standalone fantasy. Maybe. Let's go check to see if we can find one. Prompt number 5, and this I think will be like the last prompt for this because we're starting to get quite a few books here, but let's spin it for the last one here. Ooh, a rainy day read. Okay, so I don't know many rainy day reads. We'll find one. Let's go find a rainy day read. sat down and it is quite dark. But anyways, I'm back from the bookstore and we have quite a few books to talk about and I'm just really excited. This was definitely an interesting way to pick the books that I bought. I ended up getting a few more books than obviously like the wheel picked because there were books on my wish list that I really wanted to get, and so we do have a few books to go through. And also I started off at the bookstore and there was nobody there, and all of a sudden when I start to record and need to record like the different spinning of the wheels, all of a sudden everyone's there and they're kind of like watching me like I'm a weirdo. So that was fun. But anyways, let's talk about the books that I ended up getting. So the first prompt that I ended up getting was a book from a genre that I rarely read. And this could have like been pretty much any book outside of fantasy. And the book I picked is in sci-fi, and it's one that kind of piqued my interest because I've heard a lot of people talking about this author. And so I wanted to give him a go. And I actually had to like search around Barnes & Noble for this book because I couldn't find it anywhere and it was like in the corner and everything. And that is Recursion by Blake Crouch. I have picked up very few sci-fi. I think the last sci-fi I've picked up is Dungeon Crawler Carl as well as Project Hail Mary, and I'm really trying to step into like the sci-fi genre. And this one is Reality is Broken. At first it looks like a disease, an epidemic that spreads through no means, driving its victims mad with memories of a life they never lived. So this follows two characters. It follows in New York City our detective, his name is Barry Sutton, and then our neuroscientist who is Helena Smith. And both of them are trying to discover where this, I think it's called fake memory syndrome, is coming from. Barry Sutton has been getting closer and closer to the truth, and Helena may actually be part of the problem and everything, or she might actually hold the key to what is happening. I don't know. It sounded really interesting. I know that Blake Crouch has also written Dark Matter, and a lot of people loved that book as well, and I'm just interested. Then the next wheel prompt was a book that's the first in a series, so starting a new series. There's so many series that I wanted to start, but then there was one trilogy that I've wanted to get to for some time. It's based off of one of my, or not based off of, but it has influences of one of my favorite movies, and that is Jade City by Fonda Lee. This is a Godfather-esque urban fantasy story, and I'm just really interested in it. It's family is duty, magic is power, honor is everything. For centuries, honorable greenbone warriors have used magical jade to enhance their abilities and defend the island of Kekon from foreign invasion. Now the war is over and a new generation vies for control of Kekon's bustling capital city. 4 cities of the powerful Call family must prepare for battle, and the fragile peace between the clans is about to break. That just sounds so wonderful. I love fantasy. I love unique magic systems. I love amazing world building. I love amazing character development. And I've heard that Fonda Lee delivers on all of that. And not only that, I'm a huge fan of The Godfather. So I feel like this one is going to be, I'm just so excited to get into the Greenbone saga, and I'm hoping that it lives up to my expectations, so we'll see. Then from there, the next prompt that I got was a book that was released in the last 6 months. I believe this kind of could have gone back to September, October of 2025. I think it should have been more October. There's a lot of books released in the last 6 months. Some of them I was second guessing myself and thinking that they may be released in the fall, but they actually didn't. There were quite a few releases that I already did pick up in the fall, but the one that I've been hearing about, this one just sounded really intriguing to me. I know that a lot of other people have enjoyed it. It's one that I didn't think I was going to pick up, but when I read the back of it and I started thinking more about it, I decided to pick it up, and that is The Second Death of Locke by V.L. Bovalino. What intrigued me about this one was obviously Lady Knights. Like, I'm a huge fan of women that step into roles that are normally not theirs to fill. Like, I love when books break gender conformity. I love books that put women in roles that mostly men are seen in, and especially a knight position. Usually knights are seen as men, burly men, strong, handsome men, and here we have a woman knight, and the individual that she's protecting is a male mage. So I believe that this is a trilogy and that the third book is coming out this year, or the second book, I can't remember. This one is Love, Loyalty, and Sacrifice. Gray Flynn has dedicated her life to her mage Kier. She'll be his blade on the battlefield, his healer, and his protector. The deep well of raw power inside her is Kier's to wield. They are bound together by blood and magic, but there is one truth Gray dare not reveal, not even to Kier. When a quest to protect the child of an enemy kingdom pulls them into a dangerous mission, Gray will need to decide what she's willing to sacrifice to protect her secret. For Gray is no ordinary magical well, and if she dies, all magic dies with her. I don't know, it just sounded really good. Also, I thought this was a YA fantasy, and I found it in the adult fantasy, so I guess it's actually an adult fantasy. But I also love the cover of this one. I just kind of like how it's giving medieval Renaissance. Well, more so Renaissance. I'm liking the Renaissance art style that we have going on here. So I don't know. I think this is going to be a really exciting read, and I struggled. Like, I honestly struggled because the thing is so many fantasies most of the time are series, epics, or trilogies or duologies, and so I had a little bit of hard of a time. And then I started thinking about some authors that I've wanted to give a try, and this one has been on my radar for some time, and that is Blood Over Brighthaven by M.L. Long. The first one that I was looking at getting was The Sword of Kagan, and I thought about it, but I honestly gravitated towards this one more because I really liked the idea of this one. So this one, the first woman ever admitted to a prestigious order of mages, unravels a secret conspiracy that could change the practice of magic forever in this provocative standalone novel that deftly incorporates elements of science and philosophy into dark academia. And so this actually follows Siona, who's devoted every waking moment of her life to magic, and she finally actually gets into this prestigious, like, high magistry of magic and everything, and obviously she's not wanted there. Her new colleagues are determined for her to fail, and so they actually assign her a janitor to be her lab assistant, and what nobody knows is that her janitor actually 10 years before that was a nomadic hunter who actually lost his family during the journey to the city, and he's kind of out for revenge for this high magistry and everything. And so they're both kind of like put together in this very interesting circumstance, and everyone thought that they wouldn't work very well together, but obviously they might. So that sounded really interesting to me. I'm also a big fan of dark academia. I love magic. I love, university kind of like magistry settings. So I don't know. I think this is going to be a fun one, and we're gonna give it a go. And then the final prompt that I ended up getting was a rainy day read. Rainy day reads tend to be fantasy. They tend to be cozy and atmospheric, and I really didn't know many books that had been released lately, or couldn't think of any that I wanted to pick up. I thought about Agnes Aubert's Cat Sanctuary or Cat Shelter, and it sounded interesting, but I didn't really want to pick it up. It just didn't capture me enough. But there was one book that actually just released on April 7th that I'm very interested in, that I feel like will be the perfect rainy day read, and that is The Book Witch by Meg Schaefer. And this one, I love books about books, and I love books that contain magical elements about books, but this one follows our main character, Rainy March, who is a proud third-generation book witch. She's sworn to defend works of fiction from all foes, real and imaginary. With her magical umbrella and feline familiar, she jumps in and out of novels to fix malicious alterations and rogue heroes like a modern-day magical Nancy Drew. Book witches live by a strict code. Real people belong in the real world. Fictional characters belong in works of fiction. Do not eat, drink, or sleep inside a fictional world, lest you become part of the story. Falling in love with a fictional character? Don't even think about it. Which apparently Rainy herself is absolutely forbidden from doing because of the fact that she has, broken a few of these cardinal rules. But unfortunately her grandfather ends up going missing, and she does need to enlist the help of a detective who is part of a fictional world, and she might be breaking even more cardinal rules. That sounds very interesting. I also love this idea of, their quest takes them through the worlds of Alice in Wonderland, King Arthur, and other classical stories that will reveal hidden enemies and long buried family secrets. This sounds perfect. This sounds like the epitome of what a rainy day should be, and I'm excited to get into it. So those are the 5 books that I ended up getting using the wheel. I did get a few more books that were on my wish list. One of them actually wasn't even on my wish list. It was a book that I liked the cover of. I picked it up, I read the first 5 pages, and I fell in love with it, and I was like, I need to get this book because I want to know what happens. And that is As Long as the Lemon Trees Grow by Zulfa Cato. I ended up reading the first 5 pages of this without even reading the synopsis in the back, and I just loved it. It made me tingly, and it made me feel things, and I'm like, I need to pick it up. I want to know what happens. But this book is, this is my land, and just like the lemon trees that have been growing here for centuries, spilled blood won't stop us. This follows Salama Kassab, who is a pharmacy student when the cries for freedom broke out in Syria. Now Salama volunteers at a hospital in Homs, helping the wounded who flood through the doors daily. Secretly, she's desperate to find a way out of her beloved country, so desperate that she has manifested a physical embodiment of her fear in the form of her imagined companion, Quaff. But even with Quaff pressing her to leave, Salama is torn between loyalty to her country and her conviction to survive. And when she crosses paths with the boy she was supposed to meet one fatal day, she starts to doubt her resolve in leaving home at all. Soon Salama must learn to see the events around her for what they truly are, not a war but a revolution, and decide how she, too, will cry for Syria's freedom. Historical fiction isn't something that I pick up normally. I don't know if it's just because of what's going on historically currently, that it's kind of like this is a book of a reflection of like the Syria Revolution and everything, but this is following like the beginning, I think, of the Syria Revolution, and so I am interested in dipping my toes into historical fiction, so I did pick this one up. And then the final book that I picked up was one that was on my wish list just to get in general because I want to finish out this duology, and that is the Jazad Crown by Sarah Hashem. This is a Egyptian-inspired fantasy, romantasy, I would consider it. I think it's definitely on the more of the romantasy side. This is the second book in the Scorched Kingdom duology. The first one is right here, the Jazad Heir, and I really did enjoy the Jazad Heir. I am interested to see how this is going to wrap up in the Jazad Crown. There's a lot of interesting things that happened in the first book, and I'm interested to see where it's going to continue and everything. I don't want to say much else about this because of the fact that it is the second book in a duology, so I did pick this one up as well. Here are the 7 books that I ended up picking up during this book shopping vlog. Very different than how I normally do book shopping vlogs. I think it was really fun to do it this way, so I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, definitely give it a thumbs up. In the comments below, let me know of any books that you've picked up recently, and if you like my videos or like me, definitely subscribe to my channel for more videos. I'll see you in my next video. Bye!